We've been talking about this, I guess, propensity for the new US president to be occasionally contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. Do you think he's going to stick with continuity when it comes to policy and the approach and how to deal with Pyongyang, or will he throw that out? And as you said, he reckons he can sit down with the North Korean leader over a hamburger and discuss things.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head there. I mean, the policy, if there is one thus far, has been all over the place. The only hints that we seem to have from a policy from the presidential level are some of his tweets about not going to happen with regard to their missile test, which clearly did happen. And he's promised a very strong stance against the North Koreans. So we're very unclear exactly what he means by this. I mean, I think the idea of direct negotiations, I mean, sitting down over a hamburger or having Kim Jong-un in New York or in Washington would be very destabilizing to the allies. And that's the element, is that the North has been wanting for years to have direct negotiations with the United States, but without any sort of concessions from the North side, whether it be either a pledge on denuclearization or some sort of efforts towards that end. It seems like unnecessary to give the North that sort of kind of concession from an American side, and it would be thought very not well in Seoul and Tokyo.
And Jonathan, the thing is that Donald Trump has said that he's going to be very, very tough on North Korea now. Now, they're tough enough, these sanctions. They've gone pretty much down the whole of the diplomatic channel. Is a nuclear option the only thing left?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that's this is where we're kind of going at. It's basically I think that really the Trump administration's kind of approach, ironically, actually seems quite similar to the Obama administration's approach. I mean, the Obama administration pushed hard on the sanctions with China, but thus far, if you look at Secretary Mattis's visit to the region, I mean, this is pretty much in line. The trilateral work on looking at missile defense, looking at THAAD, all of these things are pretty much in line with President Trump's predecessor. So I don't really see any kind of drastic change in that sense. I mean, the military options are still untenable from the U.S. side. So I think that we're still going to see this kind of what I call like a muddling through approach, or a deterrence plus, really focusing on the deterrence angle, seeing what can come up via China. But I'm quite skeptical on that, even despite this kind of news about the coal ban.
Yeah, Jonathan, in terms of geopolitics in the region adjacent, we're also seeing growing tensions when it comes to the South China Sea. We have this U.S. aircraft carrier strike group beginning its patrols in the area. Do you have any sort of, I guess, idea of what sort of policy is actually going to materialize from the new administration? They've been talking tough, but is that rhetoric also going to translate into action?
Well, see, this is the thing. I mean, clearly at some point, I mean, the U.S. policy towards China can't be completely adversarial. There has to be some sort of give-in at some point on some issues. But thus far, the rhetoric has been tough on trade. It's been tough on the South China Sea. It's been tough on North Korea. President Trump had Prime Minister Abe in the U.S., and the two were gushing at each other and seemed to kind of be talking about the closeness of their security alliance. So clearly, at some point, there's going to have to be some talk, some sort of give on some of these issues, and that's kind of I think we're still kind of in an unclear perspective at that, whether Trump kind of focuses more on the trade side or whether he kind of is able to kind of make some concessions on
Jonathan,
security.
We're going to have to leave it there. We've covered a lot. Great insights. Jonathan Miller from the Council on Foreign Relations.